All right, wonderful people, welcome on yet another interesting episode of Random. Yes, I always tell you beforehand that it is another interesting episode because I'm so sure that it will be a very interesting episode of Random. My name is Afuda Samuel and I am your regular host, and trust me that I'm here again with yet another intentional, another artistic, another interesting guest. Let me just leave it at that. My guest today is OLANREWAJU ADEWUSI OPELE-ORO. OPELE-ORO is my guest on the show today. You are welcome on Random.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
The way they talk like someone that is gentle. You are not gentle. On a scale of 1 to 10, yeah. How stubborn do you think you are?
So the lamb cannot see, its own beneath. So I don't know. I cannot really. I think I would.
Let me ask this way: when you were in primary school, secondary school, there's this teacher's remark or teacher's remark. Has there ever been a point where they will say he's brilliant but troublesome, playful, something like that?
That's the funny thing about me. My primary school days, I was a gentle boy, even up to my secondary school days. I would say my, score started when towards the end of my secondary school time.
What happened?
Not really, just because I loved Lagbaja.
Okay.
And then I would sing Lagbaja anywhere, and I would also, do the mannerism and make his voice. And
you love Lagbaja?
I love Lagbaja. So
up to now?
Till now, I still love
Does that have any kind of influence on your sense of fashion?
Definitely, because growing up, I knew Lagbaja to be an African fashionista, an Afrocentric musician, and I observed, apart from his music, apart from the fact that, it's an indigenous music, he's an indigenous musician, I also observed his kind of dressing, and I really am fascinated. Anytime I saw him on screen, I would say, wow, I love this man, probably because I love anything culture, so whenever I saw Lagbaja on the screen, back then, there's this thing that tells me that this is how you should dress. And
thankfully you also have the height.
Almost.
Lagbaja is a tall person. And you're equally a tall person.
And the funny thing is, when in my secondary school, even till my polytechnic days, I used to be called Lagbaja. I was called Lagbaja was my nickname. To the extent that whenever we had week or this normal week, departmental week,
yes.
Back then in Erua, then I had a mask to, just to...
You're a complete Lagbaja.
I was a complete Lagbaja, even till my, that was until after my second, my polytechnic. It ended there, from my secondary school to...
So that absorbing, or let me say that influence from Lagbaja really defined and as a way of altering your personality, or let me say transform your personality from that gentle OLANREWAJU to the now vocal OLANREWAJU that we have today.
Yes, I would say from that place down to where I am now. You can even still see that in a way, just that I'm not covering my face.
I wonder how that would look like. Covering your face on radio.
I have been thinking of doing something like that. Even though people would say, I have his old picture, fine. But I want a time when, if God wills, I want a time when they'll say, as a Lagbaja on radio. I don't know.
Okay.
But if that is not happening, no problem.
All right, interesting. So now you are not just interested in the fashion part of Africa. of, or let me say it that way, our heritage, the fashion part of our culture, you're also deeply interested in the language itself. So much that you studied linguistics.
Exactly.
So much that you now studied linguistics. And
so much that the linguistics I studied was Yoruba.
Okay, so now let me understand. So you can study linguistics, French, linguistics, English. Is that what
exactly? Yeah. You know, linguistics is the tool. You cannot study linguistics without having a language.
Okay.
So it's a plus on the side of
more like literature. You know, we have literature in English.
Exactly, Yoruba. So, and then, you know, it's like if you are let's assume you to be a mechanic, auto mechanic, you have your tools, but you need a car to work those tools on. So the car or the vehicle or whatever you're working the tools on is the language.
Okay, so it's like you're saying now, you as a Yoruba linguist now, is like saying I'm a mechanic, I specialize on Honda. So that Honda is your own Yoruba. So someone can specialize on Benz, or another person on Toyota. So that's okay. So they need something on which to use those tools.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I think that is clear.
Because there are some courses under linguistics itself which still directs you to using a language or languages to, you know, when you talk of ethnography of communication, that's social linguistics, but it's part of linguistics as a course. And then you also have transformational grammar. You're talking about grammar, sentence, syntax. So you have morphology. All these things are still directing.
Do you have all these things in Yoruba?
Yes.
Linguistics too.
Transformational grammar is grammar onidaro. Then the morphology, you know, is transliterated as morphology Yoruba. And then some other aspects. Okay, we have translation. Like we have that in translation and transliteration or transcription. We have that in Yoruba too. Grammar, syntax. That's syntax. Grammar, we have it as, you know, they call it grammar. We call it grammar. Grammar is also syntax. Then we have phoneme, the phonemes, tonemes, and some other things like that.
Interesting. Yeah. Now I understand. Now I'm getting to. I've known you for going to 20 years now. Because I joined you in 2005, and I know that by the time it was 2007, 2008, I know you very well, and I know that the moment I started knowing you, I knew you.
So I knew you before I got to UI. I know you'd been stand-up comedian with the theater department.
Yes, I used to come around for the initiation program and all that.
After that, I knew there was
the first time I saw you that I could really say, okay, I know this guy, was the day you won Alibaba's Best Dancer in the Trenchard Hall. Laugh Up was celebrating his 25th. About Alibaba was celebrating his 25th anniversary on stage. Laugh Up now had a public lecture or a seminar in honor of Alibaba. Alibaba came. So we had that in the afternoon inside the art theater.
We caused some trouble at the art theater.
Then in the evening, we now had Efrebo where Alibaba was like on stage.
Even before then, we were at Institute of African Studies, if you remember, or if you did not follow us.
No, I'm not sure I was there.
There, we went there. Alibaba was there too. We did some score there, and Alibaba was like, this guy.
Now let me tell you that story.
Okay.
So it happened that on that day, Alibaba said he wanted to give money to the best dancer. I don't know, I can't remember how much now. But he said the best dancer. And all the dancers, everybody trooped out, and all the serious dancers. And all of them started doing all this, their break dance, gigi. And Opele was doing Yoruba traditional dance. All those playful dance and everything. And when it was time to vote, it was funny because everybody was saying no, and when it was Opele, everybody screamed but this guy now nonsense, and that was it. And then at some point you evolved from there. Was that what gave birth to you there's this Michael Jackson stuff you used to do with your Ashoke, with your Esiki Ashoke, and you will still come on stage to dance to a thriller or any Michael Jackson track and kill it. So explain that part before we move to other things.
You know, I'm a student of many artists. When I say artists, I mean including cinematographers like Baba Tunde Kelani. You know, there's something I observed and that I learned from Baba. What is that thing? From him, I got the inspiration that there are some technologies that we cannot have, or that we do not have right now. Let me put it that way. Some of this technology, like the camera and all of that. That is why many times you see camera always in favor of the white people because of the whiteness and all of that. So for us, people like us, they need a lot of light. So, but what I discovered from Baba Tunde Kelani is that Baba Tunde Kelani, no big professional camera will enter Nigeria that Baba Tunde Kelani would not be recommended as an expert that can be, consulted to tell you how to operate that camera because of his, professionalism. So I realized that Baba Tunde Kelani is telling our stories. We have a lot of stories, whether fiction or non-fiction, epic or whatever. We have these stories, but we need a tool to pass on, these stories of ours, is who we are. And Baba is using these cameras, these tools to project African culture. So this is an aspect that I also got inspiration from, that the fact that you love something that is alien to us does not mean that you cannot blend it, or how do I put it now?
Adapt it
in your own
to suit your own
environment, or whatever. So, and that also is the idea there behind this durag. I love the normal durag. In fact, I never thought of it. So I just, one day, back then at 32 FM, there used to be an IT guy who would use that durag. And I loved the way he used the durag. And I said, wow, how much is this durag? And I said, maybe something around 1,500, 2,000. So I said, and I love it. I would love to get it. In fact, what is it called? And he told me it's called durag. I never knew it was durag then. I said, okay, wow, I love this. Then at some point, because I love the fact that whatever that is not African that I want to use, I love it being African. Can't we have it the African way?
Adapt.
Right? And then they also say àgò ni ó yàtọ̀, àgò ló máa yàtọ̀, kò síbi tí wọ́n ti ń dáná alẹ́ ọbẹ̀ ni ó dùn yàtọ̀. And suddenly it just came to me that why can't I make it African instead of the usual durag? Then let me make it African. Let me use Ankara to do it. So, and that is how the whole thing started, and I named it Opele-Orro because it's my inspiration. And if you go check my Instagram page, you see the first African Ankara durag maker, something like that. So, because I think it's coming from me first. I have not seen any other person who has done that too. If you have, if you talk, but if you be like this durag. So, I learned from Baba Tunde Kelani. I learned from a lot of people. We mentioned Lagbaja, now Baba Tunde Kelani. I also learned from Kunle Afolayan. I don't know. I got envious of Kunle Afolayan when I saw him, showing some his house, his turntable, and all of that. Then I remember, back then with my grandfather. I will call him my grandfather because my grandfather mi gogon, but aburo grandfather mi leni so that's my grandfather. That man, àwọn ni Baba Gbenga Adewusi. Bayowa, yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, your Adewusi is the same Adewusi.
Ben.
Interesting. Baba to know. Let's go. Let's continue. I think I'll find my way back there.
Okay, so I remember we used to play the big disc turntable back then at our hometown while I was even still in Erua for my polytechnic education. So seeing someone like Kunle, someone who is exposed and still welcoming things like this. So I felt like, then what about someone like me who loves these things naturally? I love anything African. Then I should also get it. Though I have a lot of these CDs now, disc now.
Wow.
I bought it from a friend.
Interesting.
Yes, I have something close to 100.
Wow.
Yes. Olanrewaju Adewosi.
So let's say you are also an art collector.
Yes, call me that. Yes, call me an art collector.
I remember there was a time you were looking for Beatles. You wanted to buy Volkswagen Beatles.
I just don't know why I love that man-made creature.
Interesting. Man-made creature.
Yeah, I love its ruggedness. It's I don't know. I just love it being toyish the way it is. So I love it. I would like to have it as a toy.
So, as a Yoruba presenter,
okay,
there are times that there are rumors that an average Yoruba presenter is fetish.
Fetish.
Yes. Maybe because of your use of words. In Yoruba, they have Ohun Ife, they have Ayajo, we have Ofo. So by the time you start doing your own stuff like incantation generally,
okay,
it gives some people that vibe that this guy get juju. Has anyone ever approached you before to say Opele Alpha? I have a friend that thing happened to. He schooled at Uni Abuja, and back then where I grew up in Kwara, we are also we were language enthusiasts. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Because whenever we are watching a Yoruba film, sometimes we do it with our pen and jota. Especially when you see somebody like Babalofa, all those adages, all those proverbs, we jot them down so that we can use them in our own conversation. So when he got to Abuja, they speak Yoruba there too among his hostel mates. Okay. But their Yorubas are just the basic code mixing, whatever. They are not that deep. So when my guy got there, he was giving them all those proverbs and sayings and adages and everything back to back, and they knew him. He grew a reputation of someone who is vast in the Yoruba language. So he said he was sure the day somebody came to him that he is going through some spiritual problems and he wants to go and see a Yoruba. Please, can you point me to the right direction? Because I believe you know how now. Yeah, I believe you sabi because of the way you speak Yoruba. So has that ever happened to you before, or how have you ever had that before?
True. That's true. Yes, I have. At least a few people have come to me, and probably because they know me to be a Yoruba presenter, okay, and probably because of these ways that we use some of these words. Àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kan wà lóòótọ́ tó jẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ohun ìfẹ́, ìdílé ohun ìfẹ́, Yorawo, but it is just like you seeing an actor doing babalawo. He might not even be a babalawo. Might not even know how to do ewe kan mo ewe keji papo. But we have, yes, I have, some people have come to me, and then I will tell them, for me, I have no idea of going to see people for Ogun. I am a Muslim.
Abdullah by the way.
By the name, yeah. So I am a Muslim, and I believe in I believe in God, and I believe in what God can do. I am not saying anybody who is doing one thing or the other is also not believing in God, but the tenets of my faith, or what do I call it, the doctrine or everything surrounding this faith called Islam, as it is understood by me, should have nothing to do with,
does not permit
give
room to,
because if you do that, you have automatically, that is already an apostasy in a way. You have automatically left the religion, maybe unknown to you.
Okay, that you mean is such a fundamental principle that once you violate it's as good as
not being there. So exactly. It is monotheism, that is belief in the oneness of your creator that will do everything. Since you have the guidelines, you have these are the ways to, call your God. There are prayers to do. I have some people who came to my DM and they told me this and that, and I told them my own challenges too as a human that I have faced, that I still did not believe someone somewhere was behind it, because this is one of the major things that I feel that usually push us to wanting to say, okay, George, kí la lè ṣe sọ̀rọ̀ yìí, ó dàbí ẹni pé ayé lọ́wọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ mi. Every human has their challenges, to face at one point. So, ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ lógún.
Yes,
so when I had my own challenges, or when I have my own challenges, I know how to call on to God to do it for me. And then somehow, miraculously, I'll see. But of course, you have to be patient. Many of us. I am not talking about someone who is not in Islam, or someone who is not in Christianity. We have some youths like us who also are not Muslims or Christians. They believe in Isheshe, and then they might feel like, okay, Opele probably belongs to Isheshe. Well, I do not belong to Isheshe, even though I have Isheshe people around me as friends, and they are like brothers and sisters to me, and we are in good relationship.
Okay, so let me quickly say this.
Yeah.
I think that one of the problems that the Yoruba culture is facing is the fact that it is closely knitted with religion. How do I mean?
Okay.
Some parents are careful. Some parents are reluctant to allow their children, to expose their children to too much of Yoruba culture, because they believe that in the process, the religion, the spiritual part of it, they might be influenced by the religions or the spiritual part of it. Let me explain. Now we have, how do I put it now? Now we have people who believe that First Tax 77, it was a festival of art and culture. But if you ask my mom, she will tell you that is the beginning of the problem of Nigeria. That they imported gods, they imported Orisha, they brought mini gods, and that is they scattered the spiritual climate of Nigeria, and ever since then. So now many people believe that if you are a fan of culture, now many people who are practicing Isheshe, when they want to promote Isheshe, they try to up it on our culture, that this is our own thing, this is our heritage. And when they sell it, now for another example, masquerade, it's part of our culture, but it has spiritual religious undertone.
Yes.
And now because of the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Islam, our people are trying to distinguish or to separate the religion from the culture. So that is why some people will kukuma, how do I call it now, throw away both the religion and the culture, baby and the water, because they know that these things are closely knitted. For example, many people have challenged me on the use of this bead. I said this is African bracelet.
Yes.
The person that challenged me was using bracelet. I said, see, this is African bracelet. This you are not to work Benny. But this you are using bracelets too. But this is African bracelet. But people have seen African bracelet as voodooism, as voodoo. So that is why I'm saying that. Do you think our culture is getting relegated because of the spirit? Is it possible? I had an interview of Oluwo recently. It was a phone call, and it was trying to distinguish Yoruba culture from Yoruba religion. That you can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim, and still be a traditional ruler and not practice Isheshe and do other religion, because culture is not the same thing with religion. How do we unravel this? Is it possible, or we should just leave it at that? See, both of them, they are Siamese.
I think it is not impossible. It is not impossible in the sense that, okay, if we say it is because we are Yoruba and it has to be Isheshe for all of us. So what about the Arabs that are not Muslims?
Arabs that are not Muslims?
Yes.
That's strange.
Yes, we have Christian Arabs, yes.
Wow.
We have Christian Arabs. Yes, we have Christian Arabs. And of course, even this Islam that we are talking about, that we are now trying to, in a way, force to the Arab culture,
Mm-hmm. I think culture is a vehicle of religion. so, but at the end of the day, we now mistake them for
the same thing, because this Islam, when it's even okay, look at all the messengers, the prophets that we've read in the Bible and Quran. Whenever any one of them became a prophet, you would see people who would go against them. Why? It is because the ideology they are coming with is divine, which is different entirely from what they've known to be their own understanding.
And human beings naturally we are not that welcoming when it comes to change.
When it comes to change. So, but when you begin to see the rationality behind, and then you see the preachings behind it, and then the preachings now align with your common sense, that okay, if there's a religion that says you must not kill a fellow man, why should I not embrace such a religion? Okay, if a religion is saying fornication, adultery is forbidden, so commonsensically, why should I not say it is welcome? Because if I am saying it is not welcome and I am saying fornication is okay, adultery is okay, so would it be fine for me that someone, God forbid, is trying to have an affair with my wife? Would I take it? Does it make sense?
With that?
So even though our own culture too, Yoruba culture, does not welcome doing such stuff, but if it happens that okay, this is a religion that is coming and new to us, and probably an advancement of what we've known, then why can't we take it if it is not anti-cultural in a way, if it is not against our own interest? So, these are the things. But I think the issue about religion is beyond what we can discuss here, because, people will say it is from there the Muhammad came. But don't forget that we have Brazilians who are now worshipping Oshun.
Yeah.
So
we have people from Kufa.
Faith is a universal thing. Whether it is from Islam, from Judaism, Christianity, or from Isheshe, the simple fact is that there's something we all believe. There's someone we all believe that we should direct our, prayers or whatever we want to. So it is coming in different directions. So, and I don't think anyone should be forced to do something. Okay, you must do Islam. No. You must do Isheshe, you must do Christian. No, nobody should. And thank God, in our laws now, constitution, you have your right to.
Thank God Nigeria is a secular state that allows everybody to practice.
Whatever. So you cannot force anyone. So, but to now think that, I think that has been an issue for a very long time. Starting from our movies then. They'll say, I want to. Or when you watch a movie where someone from Lagos, a successful businessman, now goes to his village and then everything are dabaru to him. That's how we got even the village people slang. Okay, so this had been the OT in the head of many people in the diaspora, or some who somehow escaped from that witchcraft they believe their people in the village is using to attack them. So, or are using to attack them. So they feel like Majeka pada silio. So I think now we are now having a better way of projecting our culture that does not have to mean that someone must believe that Yoruba people are fetish. Yeah, I think we are changing the narrative. I think I learned that we are getting it now. But because back in those days, they make you feel
anything that has to do with Yoruba culture is fetish.
It's fetish.
The movies and we're not helping. And when I say the movies now, I mean both the secular movie and especially gospel movies too. They did a lot of damage to Yoruba culture because they sum everything up as religion, as spiritual, and then they make everything. There's nothing stopping you as a Yoruba person. There should be nothing stopping you from traveling down to your village for a Egungun festival because it is Egungun. But now they are saying, Egungun my masquerade will be now chasing you in your dream. Spirit, they will now subject you to some spiritual, so many things. It's random with Opele-ORO. OLANREWAJU ADEWUSI. We are still talking about different topics. Okay. Now let me talk about the media industry, where I was intentionally pushing this to the latter part of our conversation. I've talked about being fetish as a Yoruba presenter and everything. But do you believe that there is a spiritual undertone to one's success or one's failure as a presenter, especially a Yoruba presenter? Because I've had it before. I'm an industry person, and I believe you know, and you are also an industry person. That when you see Yoruba presenters, if you see a particular Yoruba presenter that is popping, that is lounging, that is doing so well, people say otitenidi. Why is it that everybody that is making sense in Yoruba, people more in Yoruba Yoruba language, arm of journalism or presentation, people have to tag it or term it as otitendi?
Well, I think it is because.
Or should I should just ask, especially not attend.
Well, I think I would say it is understood. You and I understand that journalism is not a money-making factory in a way. Like in a way. I don't know if I stand to be corrected, please. But I just feel like when you look at the trends now as regards our fellow colleagues, in the industry, you will see that many of us who are, let me say, making it are somehow tilted to a particular political party or something. While I'm not also saying that it is not possible for us to have millionaires, from, at least we have a number of people. Benga Adeboye was a fantastic broadcaster.
But there were rumors that he was fetish too.
Well, even from his, allies. But of course, the fetish part of him that I heard about was actually not to get money. Benga Adeboye was talented.
Yes, the talent was obvious. He's creative and he's everything. But then, like I said, I was sure the day I heard the rumor, Benga, for what? Is it to amplify his talent? Is it to make him more popular? Because I believe that there is no human being that can have that kind of talent. And sometimes it's painful that he died before social media, because I so much believe that he should be a billionaire by now, because he was so so talented that everything that he does is a skit, is content. From his head to his toes so is it to protect himself from harm, or why will he, somebody like that?
I think Dr. Sikiru Ayinde Barrister of blessed memory sang works an album called Okiki. So part of that song he mentioned that so there in abroad, when they see a child growing up and they realize that he has a talent, they have a way of coming together for him.
I think you've missed it up. That is Aye.
No, it's okay.
He said it's something similar in Aye.
Something like that.
They come together.
No, in Okiki, it's something like kọ̀rọ̀ kí inú wa dùn káríkárí. I'm just saying.
Okay.
ọmọ rẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ ìrìn àṣọ oríire inú ni ìrìnlẹ̀ ń bá ká torí kó.
I think I remember that.
ọba Ọlọ́run ló ṣe ìdájọ́. Okay, so that is where I want to pick my point from. I think that's this part of the world, maybe Nigeria or maybe Africa generally, or let me just say, I mean, understandingly, our own. Is there anything like understandingly? Have you understandably, or arguably, whichever way. I'll say we have this belief, this envy. There's usually this envy that, well, it is something that is
universal.
That is not peculiar to a particular set of people, but I feel that this particular climb, whenever we see some of us or one of us who is rising, we usually have issues. So for those who have issues, not all of us. So because now that you have realized that there are some people who have issues with your success, then you begin to tamora that nígbà though ilé ayé ogun ni.
Aragbelaye,
right? Okay, those are the kind of things now. But so I think this is what now would make someone to say, let me jáwé sóbì o, let me be ọmọkùnrin tó. So to be a man is not a day's job. Let me do some things more to protect myself, protect my family, because some people are out there not happy with what my success.
Finally, let me quickly try to round this up. And of course, I want to take you somewhere that you will be shocked. Social media, it has helped media. And it has affected media at the same time too, because it has affected the quality of media. I was still discussing with someone that in the next few years, if care is not taken, social media will lose it completely with the advent of AI. Because there are videos now. Before now, I say I want to see the video, because you will see video now. You'll be watching the video like this, and you will want to argue that this is real, whereas it is not real. So social media has come in and gone, but you are one of the people that have been fingered as the troublesome people on social media in this city.
Troublesome as well.
Yes.
How have I? Who are the ones fingering or pointing fingers?
Media enthusiasts, media followers, media. They believe that you are troublesome.
Troublesome in what sense?
Okay, let me be direct and let me put it this way.
Okay.
What do you have against Alhaji Oriyomi?
Alhaji Oriyomi
Hamzat.
I do not have anything against him.
Why does it seem you are always hard on him or tackling him or coming for him?
What do you mean by coming for Alhaji Oriyomi Hamzat? I don't know. I don't think. Well, that would be the definition from anybody looking from outside. But Alhaji Oriyomi Hamzat is someone I so much love. And I have this belief that if you love someone, if you like them, and you see that somehow the humanness in them, happens. I mean, everyone to err is human. When you see some things happening, then you are trying to caution. I think that is done out of love. And I do not think anyone is too big to be cautioned. Just as no one is too small to enjoy benefit. Okay, so when I understand how the social media works, and I understand how we try to manipulate this social media, especially to our unsuspecting audience. There are some things that we know that our audience are not in the know. What should we do as media practitioners? Let us enlighten them. Let us tell them. Let us not incite them. Okay? So let us not influence them the wrong way. if we do that because we are trying to make them feel we align with the kind of persons, we are not doing the society any good. You know, there was an instance of a local radio, and I came out. Some people, you know, attacked me because I pointed straight away at Alhaji. You know, I tagged him on my Facebook.
You tagged him?
I tagged him twice. The first one, I tagged him, Alhaji, I would love to have a word with you. I sent that one straight. And then some people were like, And then the second one, I wrote everything I understood to be defined or everything I understand to be called local.
Okay.
Backing it up with some points, and thank God with some people, you know, on some of my fans too, you know, corroborating my point. So, but some came and they started attacking me, and this will now take us back to the point I made earlier, that because we see that someone somewhere is successful, and when they are doing something that is not right, and someone is calling their attention to it, and they say it is envy, it is Ilara, and all of that, I do not think that is making any sense enough. So if it happens, or if it appears like I am attacking Alhaji, when I tagged him, I expected that he should, you know, return or reply me, though I may be a small boy to him, at least by age, right? By influence, but we are still colleagues. So we are still colleagues in this regard. Only dollar kama colleague, but we are still colleagues. As humans, we are colleagues in your journey. So we are humans, and so that means humanly we are colleagues. Professionally, we are colleagues, even though he may be my, you know, senior colleague and a senior colleague. So because he has been in the game, I would say before me. So we don't argue some things, but that still does not mean. I mean, continue organization for over 10 years. You know, ti kúrò ní ọmọdé ńbẹ̀. Bó tilẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé iwájú lèrò ń bèrò. So báwa ṣe bá wọn kan níwájú, àwọn kan náà ń bọ̀ látẹ̀yìn wa. So, but some are now thinking, ó máa ń dùn mí when I see some of these comments coming from some people. Some will even, you know, insult me. But I have come to realize that if you really want to say the truth, if you are the type who think that saying the truth is what
the truth must be said.
The truth must be said,
regardless of whose horse is God.
So, considering a social media as the medium to pass that truth, you know, you have to grow thick skin. You need a thick skin to face what the people out there. But thank God I'm a scorer. And I'm a
you have
king
to
of
find out what scorer before you leave this place.
Yes, scorer simply, you know, in the normal Yoruba time is Ipata. Even Alhaji is a scorer. Alhaji Oriyomi Hamzat is a scorer.
I think many people will align with
He's
that.
A scorer. He's a
if
scorer.
Nobody aligns with that. Prince Ile-Ife. We agree that he really did.
So this is who we are as media practitioners. I'm an thick skin. Someone like him too, you know, there have been so many attacks against him on some things, some right, some wrong, but he's a scholar. He keeps doing his own thing. So I do not care if I am saying what I feel, my opinion.
You are saying your truth.
I am saying my own truth. So you shouldn't attack me. But if you attack me, well, it's also your own opinion. But I do not give a heck, because that would not stop the truth from being the truth. If I am not saying it, someone else would say it. So if tomorrow, Alhaji Oriyomi should be like my elder brother, if I had him as an elder brother. This is someone, this is someone we've been together, Rio Dadao. And I still can't say that we are not together in that, you know, because this is someone who did something for me some years back, around 2020. So he said he observed that I have this talent, creativity, acrobatic rendition and all of that. I can do this. I said, why not? He said, why are you not doing it? What's stopping you? And I said, well, is it money? Don't worry, I will fund it. I will do this. In fact, we will. What's it called? We also launch it,
okay.
this and that, and then it took me to Shalom. We did the recordings. I did about 6 tracks of that recording, and this is another truth though. Okay, so I will not hide it because I tell people. So, and then we did the recording, and when it was ready, and it was a blackout after all, so nothing happened again, and that was when Agidigbo radio came up. I began to feel, could it be that because at some point he wanted to poach some of us to Agidigbo. I would have loved to work with Alhaji Oriyomi then, but when I cited some things, well, I feel like, he eventually told us that he would not be poaching us again because of what TJ did to him.
TJ, that's the chairman of 32 FM.
The chairman of 32 FM, how he helped him, come back on air and all of that. So he wouldn't want to be an ingrate that he was not going to do that again. I said, okay, it's fine. So, and then that was all, So all the recording and all the stuff, they now have kind of dawned on me that, is it because I would not be going there? Is that why the whole thing stopped again? So could it be that it's for that reason that he tried to persuade me to do these things, or I don't know. So, but the troublesomeness that people are thinking, people are just emotional blackmailers. There are a lot of, and being a scorer, I no go agree, because I know that within myself, I know that I am not doing this out of hate. I am doing this out of love, out of calling to order, calling, to caution. Who am I? Did I make him? I did not make him now. I did not make him who he is. God made him. The influencer that he now is, God made him. The money that he has, the whatever that the connection, God it is God who I can be. Who go come to. If tomorrow now, Timba Jenyon, Timo Dinin Laton, she and though people will try to bring you down, but at the same time, whatever you become in life, bear it, always have it at the back of your mind that some would call your attention to some things, which still does not translate to them hating on you or trying to bring you down. So do not incite the people against who is saying the truth, just because they are saying nothing but the truth. So we have a lot of emotional blackmailers out there. They say, and all of that. So for me, I do not see it. You can call me anything, but God sees my heart, that I'm just being straight and being plain and being truthful, and that is all. Tó bá jẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n mi o ẹ̀jẹ̀ kan náà, ṣé tí wọ́n bá níbi tán kù sí, ṣé mi ò lè pe ẹ̀gbọ́n? Ọmọ ń pe òbí ẹ̀ bá sọ̀rọ̀, ábọ̀ nítorí ẹ̀gbọ́n àbí ẹni tí ó jùyàn lọ. Just the same way he can, call my attention to some things and say, Opele, nítorí wí bẹ́ẹ̀ o, àìwí bẹ́ẹ̀ o, ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó. Má dẹ̀ reason. So if tomorrow something happens and Oriyomi calls my attention to it on social media, the local thing, I was really pissed off because, and that was what made me write that post, that it is not even painful to see people are ignorant of something, but for someone who knows and is shielding the truth away from these ignorant people, that is the worst of evil you will do to people. Hiding the truth away from them. It is bad. And then you make them feel like, wọ́n fẹ́ gbé mi ṣubú ni, ìṣubú mi ló ń wá. Ìṣubú wo? Ṣé bó ṣe dìde, ṣáwọn ló gbé ẹ dìde ni? Ọlọ́run ló gbéyàn dìde, òun náà ló lè gbéyàn ṣubú. So if you are on the right track and someone is trying to bring you down and you know that you are on the right track, don't try to incite people to hate on them. So èmi ò bá Alhaji Oriyomi ní problem, mi bá mi ní issue pẹ̀lú wọn. Àwọn ará àta just as it is láàrin àwọn olórin pé máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tẹ́gbọ́n máa ní àwọn fans ló ń ṣe gbá ló ń ṣàwò ló ń ṣe.
àwọn ló bá wọn interpret
àwọn ló ń bá wọn interpret ẹ̀. And then ṣe mọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí oníròyìn tá a jọ jẹ́ táwọn kankan bá ń ṣẹlẹ̀, you know, society's fourth realm ni wọ́n pè wá, right? So we know where our boundaries are. We should know where our boundaries are as journalists and as politicians. So when some things are happening, when some things are jumping off the boundary, we can call our attention now. Or when it is understood that, okay, some of us who are believed to be journalists are becoming politic jobbers.
We are transiting.
We are
transiting or transitioning rather from being a journalist to a politician.
You know, if
we've
you
seen
want
people
to,
do it at the federal level. We've seen somebody like Abike Dabiri. She was a newscaster at NTA before she became Abike Dabiri, the National Assembly person. Before she now became the political appointee that she is now. So it is. I think it is a normal thing. We've seen people transition from being a. So is that what you are trying to say, that it is normal for people to transition, but they should know, or am I?
If you want to transition, why not transition? You know, if Yorùbá ò ṣe tó bá fẹ́ jó ṣàkálà tó bá fẹ́ jó ṣòkòlò. Ṣùgbọ́n tó bá ní o fẹ́ jó ṣàkálà ṣòkòlò, ijó máa dàrú bẹ́ẹ̀. So it is better to stay on one path, because as a journalist, whatever you say, just as they say that news is sacred, whatever you read is believed by the people. So you as a journalist, you should tread softly on I mean with your affairs with these politicians and all of that. So you have to be careful so that wọ́n ní múyàn lóhùn sí ìdígi là bọ́fà ohun là mọ́fàfà ìdígi là bá. So you have to be careful, and I think some of us are just intentional about it, knowing that we are influencers. So and then at the same time we are journalists. I want low journalistic influence who are one of politics. So we have to be careful. Is that professional? Let me ask you.
This is random.
Okay, so random.
I asked the question. I asked the question here.
But that was not the question.
Yes, I said on this platform I want to ask questions. I will not be able to answer your question for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons. From your reply, from your response, it means that's a yes to my question.
Yes, of course. The rule books are clear. They state it clearly of what is expected and what is not expected. There is a reason why the rule says if you are a newscaster, you cannot produce you cannot be a voiceover artist, you cannot record jingles, because they believe what you say is sacred. Is as sacred as the news. People believe it, they take it as a fact. So the same thing can be applied to when you have an influence, when you are a personality in the journalism space or in the media space. There are certain things that you should not be found doing or saying, because if you do, it will be against the letter and the spirit of the rules that guides the profession. I think it's as simple as that. I think I've answered your question.
Okay, well, I will take it that way.
I think I've answered.
I don't know if if they are.
Thank
okay
God that
it
is a visual, so you can rewind and listen again, because I'm not repeating myself. Thank you so much, OLANREWAJU ADEWUSI OPELE-ORO, for coming on Random. Finally.
Again?
Finally, this time.
Which one is
Finally.
So
that was a final. That was a final.
Have you got that final?
No, semi-final. So now, finally. Apart from Gbenga Adeboye, who are your influences in the media world that you can say, okay, when I'm on air, or let me not say when you are on air, but the people that have influenced you or that have shaped you into who Opele is now as a broadcast journalist or as a broadcaster?
Oh, why did you say apart from Gbenga Adeboye?
I want to believe that it is natural for me to believe Gbenga Adeboye, because sincerely speaking, the vibe I get, especially from some of your works. I want to remember this particular one.
Is it the Morasi?
I think Morasi. Yes.
Okay, that's Zaria.
Zaria. Yes. Anytime I listen to that, I the only thing that I can compare it with is that Njetigbo of Gbenga Adeboye. So that's why I've said that I have decided in my mind, or I have assumed that Gbenga Adeboye is one of your biggest influences. So as I said, apart from Gbenga Adeboye, do you have
that is actually not far away from the truth, because even my long essay, my final year project was written on Gbenga Adeboye.
No wonder. No wonder.
So I love Gbenga Adeboye. I love the fact that he's creative and artistic. There's one thing to be creative. There's another thing to be artistic. Sometimes when you look at some of our Fuji musicians, I would say some of them, or probably many of them, are creative, but many really were artistic compared to what Sikiru Ayinde Barrister would sing. Sikiru Ayinde Barrister was creative and at the same time artistic. Artistic is I think is an extension of potentiality where you embellish your creativity. You can be creative, but there's there's a difference between potential and talent. Potential is that thing that is a kind of pointer to telling us that it's possible that this person is the possibility of having a particular talent. The talent is now it is definitive. This is the talent. That's talent. Then you are not creative with that talent. That means you can extend your talent by bringing out new things around it. Then the artistic part of it is those new things you are bringing out, you are now embellishing them. When we say art, fine art, visual art. So this one, in this case, it is oral art. So Gbenga Adeboye is creative and artistic, and I love that. It took me a lot of job to do. It was a task starting, because in fact it made me love radio actually. Discovering Gbenga Adeboye made me discover and love radio. So, and that's how I started. So Gbenga Adeboye and then Kola Olawiyi, those two personalities, I cannot take them off the point that these are actually the inspiration behind my loving radio. Right from time I love TV. I started with TV and radio. Let me put it that way, Sha. Because I started with TV, and then at a point, maybe a month after, I started again with radio. So I was doing TV and radio at some point, and then until I left TV, and then I started doing radio until now, still doing radio. Though I'm kind of trying to bring in my TV. The TV again.
With your podcast. With your it's
game.
not podcast. With your game show, yes.
A game show. Can I say?
Yes, why not?
Yagbo Yaju.
Yes.
Yes, Yagbo Yaju is coming very soon. It's a Yoruba game show. Okay. Thank God. After that,
what's that my name again?
Yeah.
Akinkanju Afuda.
Akinkanju Afuda.
No worry, you understand when you when you watch my episode on Yagbo Yaju, you understand why I'm Akinkanju Afuda.
So I have many forte, I believe. So one is the media, then I think another one is this language, and basically I think that is what Yagbo Yaju as a game show is all about.
I think that's more like a marriage of language and media.
Exactly.
It's a marriage.
Exactly, it's a marriage. Yes, it's a marriage now. Language and media, and you love it. It's interesting, and it's interesting, informative, and educative at the same time. What I love about Kola Olawiyi is calmness.
Oh.
Kola Olawiyi is calm.
He's never in a rush.
Gbenga Adeboye is a rapid talker at some point, but it takes you to be creative and be cautious enough to do that too. You cannot just be talking. If you cannot be talking and turning out points one after the other.
Punchlines,
and then you are not
and you are fast
stumbling,
with it,
and you are fast with it, like you are a rapper. Gbenga Adeboye has that. Kola Olawuyi has this calmness. He will speak Yoruba, and then if he would turn to English, switch to English, he speaks the English fluently and deliciously.
Which is one of the things that many Yoruba presenters don't have. Sorry to say.
That's another big point. Oh, yes, that is true. But
it's one of the reasons, sincerely for me and some of my people that we've had discussions, one of the reasons that someone like you stands out and is the ability to understand both languages. You cannot be a fantastic Yoruba presenter if you really don't understand English, especially if you want to deal with news, because it takes good understanding of English to translate it into Yoruba.
Yes.
So, and then the ability to switch, the ability to pronounce English words and say any word in English confidently cannot be overemphasized. It tells on your confidence that this person understands what he's saying.
Yes.
Look at Gabriel Afolayan. Gabriel is mostly a Yoruba actor, but nobody can take that fact from him that anytime he wants to speak English, he will speak it in such a way that you have no doubt that I can cast this guy for English and they will deliver. Yes. Because he lets you know that forget I may be doing Yoruba, I understand English. Exactly. So, and I think you sincerely exactly, you have the same aura on radio that this person speaks Yoruba, quality Yoruba, and at the same time, if he needs to speak English, he will do justice to it. And I must give you, but now, like I said, I'm not surprised since you have been a lover of Yoruba and then you now studied linguistics Yoruba. What are we talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, yes. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode. I told you earlier that you will enjoy it, and I'm so sure you've so much enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us, to subscribe to our YouTube channel Afuda Samuel, and set your notification, put them on, because Sunday evening 6 p.m. next week something else is dropping. So till that time, Afuda Samuel is the name, and I'm saying thank you. Many thanks to Mr. Kenny Adedire for being behind the camera and everything. God bless you. Thank you. See you next time.